Hi guys, and what's up? So today, as you guys know, I've obviously been talking excessively about cars, and today will obviously unfortunately be no different. With that being said, I essentially want to talk to you guys about my favorite car, which is a Lamborghini Urus and a Mercedes-Benz Sprinter. So I've done a video before where I've obviously spoke about the different types of Lamborghinis, the Starato, the Hurricane, the Countach, which combined is about 6 million. But before I obviously do that, I'll be doing a roundup of events that have been obviously going on before talking about about why I like these cars, basically, and why Lamborghini Urus is my favorite car, and why the Mercedes Sprinter VIP is it really worth 216,000 for essentially a people carrier. That is essentially what I am actually going to be talking about today. So I feel like this is how I'm obviously going to start the tone of many of my videos kind of going forward. Now the country which has the most medals is not at the board. I was just as surprised when I saw this. I thought, oh, okay. Not what I would have expected at all. There have been many surprises at this year's Olympics, with even the island of obviously Dominica winning their first gold medal ever. But what was putting them on the map at this year's Olympics. But what was astonishing for me the most was obviously Mrs. Price not running the 100 meters. Just wondering, does that mean she will not run the relay? What I really like about the event, especially the relays over 200 meters, is obviously the ability for the athlete to change gears whilst obviously running.
So as you can see, coming off the bend, we've got Gabby, the American. We've also got second place, we've got the St. Lucian, and in third place, coming down the home straight, we've got another American. All three of them are going through the home straight. Gabby wins it, she's going to win it. We've got the St. Lucian in second, and then we've got the other American in third. What a race.
It's like for the first quarter of the race, they're in first gear, and come the second and third part of the element of the race, they start to up their gear in terms of speed and obviously performance. And obviously they get into different gears whilst obviously running around the track. I feel like for me, when I was younger, I used to watch Michael Johnson run, and he used to obliterate the field in 200 meters and 400 meters, and he would not change his posture at all. His head would always be like that, and he'd be running. He said it would always be like that, and he'd be running. And I'm thinking, wow, it's amazing to see. Anyway, it's amazing to watch, especially when everybody wants to kind of get a personal best or even get a world record, you know what I mean? I feel like gymnasts seem to be crushing it. One notably is Mrs. Biles. I think that there was some issue with the last Olympics, and this year she came back and she meant business. She was literally standing on business and all of these awards. I feel like being a gymnast is typically a sport which includes obviously balance, flexibility, strength, agility, and it's not for the weak. All that flipping and turning. You guys know Sha'Carri Richardson obviously came second, meaning the new Olympic champion is St. Lucia's Alfred, and obviously seemingly going to be doing big things. I thought Zana Hughes was going to do great, but in the 100 meters, but it obviously went to no. For those that don't know, no clock obliterates the field when it comes to 100 meters. Not only is a great orator, but he delivers each and every time he comes out on the field. Take a look. Anyway, Olympics, I feel like, and you can see that he was going to do great things from his last compete. So yeah, now let's talk politics. As you guys know, Kamala Harris is running for president, right? And her opponent is Trump. Now, Trump attended an open meet in Chicago, one of my favorite places. He attended an open meet in Chicago where he was met with panelists who spoke to him about his like previous presidency. I feel like they spoke on topics on immigration, women's rights, inflation, and a bunch of other things. It didn't get off to a great start. However, when it got underway, topics discussed was things like employment he has obviously done for the kind of black community, with investment in educational establishments. He called Harris the border czar, as he felt the migration of people to the USA from the border was problematic. And he argued that he wanted to obviously garner the black vote.
Has been talking a big game about securing our border, but he does not walk the walk. Or as my friend Quavo would say, he does not walk it like he talks it.
Now, he spoke about how inflation was currently at an all-time high in the US. So obviously there's a strong possibility that inflation rates might be cut by Jerome Powell, who is the head of the Federal Reserve. For those that don't know, you know now. So Jerome Powell is the head of the Federal Reserve, and at the moment inflation is quite high. But USA, well, do not have the most natural reserve, highlighted during the time where everybody had to stay at home. I'm obviously not going to get into it and put my political commentary hat on, but I would say this: moving to EV cars makes sense, and I'll tell you why it makes sense. When you rely on other countries, should your oil reserves run low, when you rely on other countries when your oil reserves are low, number one, it's not good, and number two, you want to maintain the value of your currency. And if everybody decides to stop trading in the dollar, that becomes a problem. So in order to prevent like a situation where political unrest could spill over to other parts of the economy, between the supply and the receiver, as most companies trade in dollar of EV cars, you kind of circumvent these things. I'm sorry, but investing in the EV car sector is an absolute must. It just makes more sense. And I thought with the kind of, I just feel like it makes sense. Anyway, with that being said, let me discuss why I would like the Lamborghini Urus and discuss the Mercedes Sprinter. Now, the Mercedes Sprinter VUP is an absolute amazing vehicle. The car I was in was adapted with cameras. It had white interior and really reminded me of cars that would be used for like concerts and obviously things of that nature. Now the vehicle cost about 250,000 alone. I think it's too big of a car to be. I think it's two of the car. I think is 2 liters. Anyway, just take a look. Now, let me tell you why I like the Lamborghini Urus more than any kind of Bentley RAF, which costs between, I don't know, 282,600, the Spur, which is about 324,000, and the Pentega, which is about 169,000. This is because it gives you that SUV experience in a sports car. Do you know what I mean? It gives you that SUV experience in a sports car. The front panel is very similar to a Sterato or a Countach or even a Hurricane, but it's considerably more bigger. Obviously, you can get a custom grip on your brand new whip, as opposed to having a Hurricane or a Sterato, where it's difficult to obviously slide in and slide out of. Do you know what I mean? I feel like with many of these dealerships that sell these types of cars, I feel in my opinion that they have this mentality of selling water, do you know what I mean, to whales, like hustlers, you know? obviously, if you are trying to import the car, obviously, if you're trying to import the car, depending on what country you're importing from, you may have government officials tripping at customs. This is why it's always good to go through a dealer and as opposed to do things independently. As well as also make sure your paperwork is correct and you deal with the right dealership and not necessarily try to import your cars yourself. But this is just my opinion and my thoughts. Anyway, peace out and take care until the next time.